following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now your hosts, Barry Church, Danny McCray, and Newy Scruggs.
All right, everybody, it's Friday. That means it's time for the Players Lounge. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter, joined by former Dallas Cowboys players Danny McCray and Barry Church. Gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about within this hour. First off, how's everybody doing? Danny?
I'm doing better than Earl Thomas. No, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really well. I'm doing really well, man. Quarantine.
Wow.
Interesting stuff, man. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Shots thrown early, man. I'm doing good, by the way. I'm doing good.
I'm not laughing at Barry McCray. I'm not laughing.
My bad. Yes, I don't know the man.
Yes, I will say this, Danny, just based on what you just said to start off the show. They do play the Ravens this year. The Cowboys do play the Ravens this year, so.
Hey, I ain't worried about it.
Oh, man.
We will dive into other topics, non-Cowboy related, throughout this show. All right, first off, everybody, the schedule is out. The 2020 schedule is out, the National Football League. Chris, go ahead and pop up that schedule. Let's look at the first quarter of the schedule. The Dallas Cowboys are slated to start the NFL season in Los Angeles, California, specifically Inglewood at the new SoFi Stadium, where the Rams and the Chargers are going to share the stadium. The Cowboys, interestingly enough, are going to go ahead and take on the Chargers in a preseason game. So September 13th on Sunday night, NBC5, Sunday Night Football. Rams, then it's at home against Matty Icy Atlanta Falcons, then up to Washington to face the Seattle Seahawks, then a October 4th game against Baker Mayfield, the Cleveland Browns. All right, gentlemen, break down these first three games here. Church, what are you seeing?
I'm kind of conflicted here for these the first four games, man. Overall, I feel like they have a favorable schedule, but these first four, it's come down to one team for me. It comes down to the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like they'll go through LA in that first game, but I feel like the Atlanta Falcons, they're a tricky team, man, because I feel like they have a lot of momentum coming into this year. I think they finished the year pretty well, if I'm not mistaken, last season. Even though they didn't make the playoffs, I feel like they won the last couple games. But they got Matty Ice there, they got Julio Jones, they got a newly acquired Todd Gurley in the backfield, and he's had success against Cowboy defenses in the past, so we shall see. But that's a conflicting game for me. I got them winning it, but I'm not quite sure about it. But the rest of them, I feel like they should easily mop up those last two games. But the conflicting one, and I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. No, they will not beat the Seattle Seahawks. So the first couple games, I got them going maybe 3-1 or 2-2.
Yeah, I'm
3-1.
You had me confused, Church.
What you got, Danny?
With the Church, you had me confused with the Seahawks mop them up. I was questioning your.
My mistake. That was my mistake.
No, I see. I believe they beat the Rams. I'm not even sure what the Rams are right now. They don't have Cooks. They don't have Gurley. They still have Goff. So I think we go out there and we get a dub. The Falcons, I think we get the win just because they are such an iffy team. They have so much talent. They kind of remind me of us, the old us. We have talent on the roster, but we aren't able to get those wins. So I think with the new regime coming in, I think we go out there and we beat the Falcons. The Seahawks, I think that is kind of up in the air. If it's only 15 or 20% capacity allowed in the stadium, I think we have a better chance of winning because that 12-man is a real thing. So that just depends. So I'm going to chalk that up as an L. And we go out there and we beat LSU North. So I got us going 3-1.
Okay, so 3-1 for Church and McCray to start the first quarter of the schedule. All right, let's look at the second part of it. Chris, go ahead and throw that up on the screen there. Chris Beam, who helps us out and makes this whole podcast go. We appreciate Chris. All right, so the second part is a October 11th game against the New York Football Giants. Joe Judge is the new head coach there. Jason Garrett's the offensive coordinator. Mark Colombo's the offensive line coach. So it is a game against the Giants. Then it's Monday Night Football as Kyler Murray of Allen High School comes back to Jerry World to take on the Cowboys. Then it is a game at Washington at FedEx Field to take on that sad outfit. And then it is a Sunday Night Football game at Philadelphia. All right, so, Church, start with me here. Give me the wins and losses for this quarter part of the schedule.
You guys might think I'm crazy for this, but for this quarter of the schedule, I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to go when they play New York. I know New York's coming down here, and I know they had all this success against New York, but I feel like New York might be they might have some juice to them. I feel like Garrett going up there, coming down to Jerry World for the first time with the New York colors on, I think he's going to get a little bit of juice to him, and I think they might steal one over in Jerry World. I feel like they'll easily mop up Arizona. That's a younger team. Yeah, they got DeAndre Hopkins, but I don't think that gel right there that early in the season will click, so I think they'll get rid of them pretty quickly. The Washington Redskins, like Danny said, I feel like they'll mop them up as well. But the Philadelphia Eagles, that'll be an intriguing matchup right there. I'm not quite sure. Was that home or away?
That is a away game on Sunday night.
Okay, that's a away game. So I feel like Philly will take that one away. They got all their weapons back offensively if everybody's healthy. Plus, they added some speed on the outside. Plus, they've had the Cowboys' number here this last year. So I feel like Philly will take that one and leaving the Cowboys 2-2 after the second quarter.
All right, McCray.
Yeah, I think we'll beat the Giants. I do think that it will be one of those offensive games where it's scoring. Whoever's the last person to score wins. They scoring 50, 55 points because I think JG has it on his mind that he has Danny Dimes and Saquon to work with, and he's going to come out and try to prove a point. But I think we still get that dub. The Cardinals, for me, man, like history for me playing against the Cardinals when I'm with the Cowboys is it's always super tough, and we never know how it's going to end. So just for that reason, I'm saying that they come to town and we lose that one. We lose that one, and then we finish off the two division games with a win. So it's another 3-1 start for me in the second quarter of the season.
Okay, so at the halfway mark, Church, you've got the Cowboys at 5-3. McCray, you've got the Cowboys at 6-2. Let's go to the third quarter of the schedule here, which starts November 8th against Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then it is a game on the road against Minnesota. Remember, last year was a Sunday night game in which Kirk Cousins and company came into Jerry World and ended up getting the win. That's when Tavon Austin had that fair catch at the end that we all questioned, which led to the demise of Keith O'Quinn as special teams coach. Then it's a Thanksgiving Day game. Washington comes to Arlington, and then it's a December 3rd game against MVP Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens and Earl Thomas in Baltimore. So, Church, run it down. How do you see this quadrant as the Cowboys start in Pittsburgh and end up in Earl Thomas's tent?
To me, this is going to be the hardest stretch of the season by far for the Cowboys. I mean, they got a stretch right there, which is with teams that are experienced, have made the playoffs. I know the Steelers missed it last year, but they didn't have Ben Roethlisberger. He's coming back fully healthy. They have to get Juju Smith-Schuster on the right track because last year he kind of dropped off. But I feel like they're going to have an impressive defense, and they're going to bring an offense that I'm not quite sure our defense can handle. So I'm going to give Pittsburgh the win on that one. Kinfolk cousin, Kirk Cousins over there in Minnesota. We got to go up there as well. I'm not seeing a victory there either. I feel like he definitely had our number last year as he performed pretty well when he came down here. So us going up there, I don't see us getting that win at all. I feel like they're too balanced of a team for us. So I'll give us an L on that one. Washington, I think that'll be a wrap. That'll be a dub for us. And I believe that last game, was that against Philly?
It's Baltimore, at Baltimore on December 3rd.
Baltimore, at Baltimore, game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a Thursday night game.
And that Thursday night game, primetime game, you got the former MVP Lamar Jackson right there. I just don't think our defense can handle him. I think it's that might be kind of a blowout on Thursday night, but I'm going to go Baltimore there as well. So this third quarter, I'm going to give the Cowboys 1-3.
All right, Church, I do want to make sure I stress this into all the Cowboy fans right now here on DallasCowboys.com. That Thursday night game against Baltimore is a week after the Thursday game against Washington at home, so it's not a short week. So it's a full week. It's Thursday, and then they play another Thursday. All right, Church, you go ahead and give me your rundown here for Pittsburgh at Minnesota, Thanksgiving Day against Washington, and then on the road at your man Earl Thomas's team.
Listen, I'm going to say this season that we beat the Steelers. The Steelers are coming in. All they have is juju. I think we get that dub. McCarthy shows that he can be the top-tier team. Okay. We lose against the Vikings. The way that we came out last season, they played defense on us. They ran the ball. Until I see something different, I think the Vikings still have the upper hand on us. We beat the Redskins, and I mean, if you're being honest with yourself, playing the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, if they're anything close to what they were last year, we will have a tough time beating them. So I'm gonna give us the L on that one as well.
Okay, so Dan, you got a win against Pittsburgh, and what do you have against Minnesota here again?
I got a loss against Minnesota, and then I have a win against the Redskins, and I have a loss against the Ravens, putting us at 2-2.
Okay, 2-2. So, all right, Chris, put up the final part of the schedule here. It is a return to Cincinnati for Andy Dalton. Then it is a Sunday night football game against the San Francisco 49ers, who come to Arlington. Then it is a home game against Philadelphia 2 days after Christmas. And then it is the season finale, January 3rd in New Jersey against the New York Football Giants. All right, Barry Church, give me your take here.
These last 4 games, they're kind of tricky, but I'm gonna give a shot at it here real quick. At the Bengals, like you said, December 13th. That's a noon game. I think the Cowboys will be ready to get up and play there easily. I think they take Joe Burrow and the Bengals down pretty quickly, so I'll give them a win right there. San Francisco, they don't have to make the trip out west, so that's an advantage. San Francisco just to come here, and it's a night game. It is a night game, and I think the Cowboys play well on prime time, so I'm going to give them the dub against San Francisco right there. Against Philly, December 27th, 3:25. That's here in Cowboy Stadium, so earlier I gave Philadelphia the win. I feel like they normally split the series here and there during the season, so I'm going to give them a split series here, and I'm going to give the Cowboys the win. And then that last game against New York, with them going up to New York and going against Garrett and those boys up there, I feel like they'll win that one as well. So I got them going undefeated through this last stretch of these 4 games, and then the season 4-0.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm close. I'm close on that one. I got us getting the win against the Bengals, but I think it'll be a tougher game than we expect. They do have some offensive firepower there. It is a 12 game. I think at this point of the season we're rolling a little bit, so we gotta fight that urge to let off the pedal against a team that we believe is a little lower than us. So, but we still get the win. I think we get a win against the 49ers. Tough game. I don't trust Jimmy G, so I think we should beat them. I think it's a tight race at the end of the season, so that Eagles game is very important for us. So we go out there and we handle business, and we take a game off against the Giants because we got it all wrapped up. We got our seed and everything locked in, so we rest some of our players so we can get ready for the playoffs. So that's an L, but that's only because of the circumstances.
So 3-1.
Yep.
All right, so gentlemen, looking at what you have, Church, do you like this record you got? You got a 10-6 mark for the Cowboys, and McCray, you got the Cowboys going 11-5.
Yeah, the schedule says that, man, and of course all this is based on what we believe the teams are, how they played last year, because no one can know how they'll be this year. But looking at the schedule and the teams that we have on there and how they performed last year, if they just get a little bit better, I still think that we have a chance to run this schedule pretty nice.
Yeah, John Clayton, Hall of Fame NFL writer, he writes for the Washington Post. He's written down the 5 teams that have the easiest schedules in the NFL, and the Cowboys are one of those 5 teams. So you've got the Cowboys 11-5, McCray. Church, you got them 10-6. This will get them in the playoffs. Here's the question. Does this win the NFC East for the Cowboys, in your opinion? Danny?
Yes. Yes, I don't know how good the Eagles are going to be. They are a question mark, but I don't believe that the Giants and the Redskins are going to be in competition for the division crown. So I really think it's just between us and the Eagles, and we sweep them. So I believe that we win a division this year.
Church?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with McCray on this one. I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys winning the division. Usually it's between Philadelphia and Dallas to win this division. They go back and forth. I think Washington, they're going to be a little bit better than they were last year, as well as the New York Giants, but I just don't think they're there yet to compete for this division title. So I think it'll come down to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Cowboys. I think they'll split that series, but overall the Cowboys will have a better record because the Eagles have a tougher record, being as though they won a division last year. So I got to give it to the Cowboys, and I think they'll make the playoffs this year.
All right, so the Cowboys with 5 primetime games this year. They will play Monday night. That's against Arizona. They got 3 Sunday night football games, and they've got that Thursday night game in December 3rd, against the Baltimore Ravens. And, of course, we know they got the annual Thanksgiving Day game. So a lot of Cowboys on your television screen. Gerald Mccoy has joined the Cowboys. It's on a 1-year deal. And Gerald McCoy had an interesting take on opening up the season against the Los Angeles Rams. Here's Gerald McCoy last night on DallasCowboys.com.
Yeah, those divisional games are huge. And whether home or away, you always want to do your best to win those divisional games. And like you said, that's when we're getting into those games when you're getting into the meat of the schedule. And it's around, like Mr. Jones said, in November, December is when people are playing their best football. But you really start to figure out who you are after week 7, into week 8. Then you kind of start to see who's really who. And teams start to develop into who they really are. You have those first 3-4 weeks where people might be like, oh, well, this team is going directly to the Super Bowl. And then as the season stretches out, it's like, well, they're not really. So when we start playing those division games, we'll start getting into the point to where people will really start seeing who we are, and we'll start figuring out who we are. And there's no better teams to play than your division games when you start to get to that point in the season.
Okay, that was some really good stuff in case you missed it last night on DallasCowboys.com. Gerald McCoy, Tyrone Crawford, and Hall of Famer Jerry Jones came in to weigh in on the schedule. I want to take a break right now. When we come back, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but I'm going to go ahead and channel my inner Danny McCray and ask a question that some of us don't want to talk about with what's going on with the schedule here. Also, we'll talk about Andy Dalton becoming the Cowboys' backup quarterback and what that means, and also why Cam Newton can't find a job right now. A whole lot more to get to. You're listening and watching the Players Lounge on Dallas Cowboys.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS 1 score, September 2019.
Back to the Players Lounge.
A lot goes with getting to be a part of the team, whether it's from a player perspective or any member of the team. We're going to all have a memory. Gerald is, all the players are, coaches. I'm going to get to have a memory of having played that first regular season game against the Los Angeles Ram team that stepped out there in the entertainment capital of the world in that iconic stadium, and your Dallas Cowboys are coming out there to show up on center stage. So I see it, I feel it. It feels like the Cowboys, really, to get to be out there and be in that gorgeous new stadium. On a personal basis, I was born almost where that stadium sits. I was born in Inglewood, right off the end of the runway, and I have a lot of my cousins and first, second, third cousins out there, and it'd be an exciting time to go back out there and take these Dallas Cowboys and put it on those Los Angeles Rams. But it's a big night. I had my fingers crossed that we'd get a chance to open that stadium against the Rams.
All right, that is Hall of Fame owner Jerry Jones, who's born in El Segundo, California. And Jerry was given the key to the city before the Cowboys ended up playing Super Bowl 27 at the Rose Bowl. That was the first Super Bowl won by Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. So he gets to take the Cowboys to Los Angeles to open up the new stadium that he and Stan Kroenke helped get done. Jerry is a very integral part of helping get football in Los Angeles. And Danny, Barry, not sure if you know this, and Jerry said this last year on 105.3 The Fan, the Cowboys' official radio home, that the NFL came to him and asked him if he would be willing to sell the Cowboys, and they would give Jerry the Los Angeles market and send Jerry on out there to just really get LA going. Jerry said no, but he would be helpful in terms of helping the NFL get back to Los Angeles. McCray, what do you think about that? Jerry could have been the owner of whatever LA team and run that thing all by himself, but he decided to stay with the Cowboys.
First of all, Jerry loves the Cowboys. It's like one of his children. I don't believe he will ever let it go. So I mean, I know they had to know that they were reaching when they asked, and that he would probably say no. But I mean, you just got to give it a shot. I also think that Jerry also knows that when there's something this big going on in the NFL, the Cowboys are going to be a part of it. When you opening up a stadium in LA, his fingers were crossed, but he knew in the back of his mind that we would be the first team up to open up this stadium, because you want to get as much attention and notoriety on it as possible. So he's accustomed to doing things like this. Even though he had his fingers crossed, I'm sure he already knew that it was in the works.
Church, your thoughts? Jerry Jones could have been the owner of an NFL franchise in LA and would have sold the Cowboys.
Yeah, he made the right decision. I mean, I gotta agree with McCray on this one. Like he said, he pretty much raised the Cowboys franchise into this multi-billion-dollar empire that's the face of the NFL right now. And like he said, the Cowboys have their fingers in everything when it comes to the NFL. So we pretty much knew that if the LA Rams were opening up a stadium to get if the seats are filled, if we can fill the seats in with this whole COVID-19 thing going around, if they can fill the seats, the only team that would be able to do that would be the Dallas Cowboys. So like McCray said, in the back of his mind, he knew that we were going to be able to in that first opening game. But like I said, he made the right decision. The Cowboys are a multi-billion-dollar empire now, and he's the main reason that they're that beneficial.
All right, Barry, stay with right there, and this is something that I get from Danny McCray, because Danny's our big-time realist here. We don't know what's going to happen right now with the NFL. And we're putting out the schedule like, hey, everything is all good. We don't even know if the Cowboys are going to be able to go out to Oxnard, California for training camp, because right now the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has that state on lockdown. So who knows what's going to happen in terms of the Cowboys being able to even play in Los Angeles. And if they do, maybe it's in front of no fans, but who knows right now? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Like you said, man. I mean, right now we're in a time that we don't even know anything about. I mean, we never experienced such a pandemic like this, and for the NFL to, they're trying to give people hope that the season's going to start. We're going to put our fans in there and all that good stuff. But like you said, Newy, we just don't know. We don't know how fast this thing can spread again if we get masses together, or how fast we can get a vaccine for it. So we just don't know. And I think it would be a bad news if there was no football for the American public throughout the season. I mean, that would be pretty bad.
McCray?
Yeah, same here. I think it'll be really bad, especially since that means that we've gone that long without having any other sports besides UFC putting on a few fights. I think people will be going crazy about betting, fantasy football, everything that is around the NFL season not taking place will have people going a little crazy. Yeah, honestly, and then with the pandemic going on, I just at this point we don't know. I mean, the NFL has to do business as usual. They have to plan like they're still going to be able to play. So it would be irresponsible for them not to have a schedule. But I did hear something about them having a contingency plan with if you don't play a game in week 1, then you'll play that game in week 18, and then week 2, if you don't have a game, you'll play that game in week 19, and so on. So I mean, it's good to hear that they have a plan, and the season will still be able to play out even if it's delayed. So everybody's fingers are crossed, man. But like Newy said, if you're being real about it, until we really see a drastic change in how this pandemic is affecting us, my hopes are modest at best.
To me, it's going to be very interesting to see, particularly by the time we get to September, what states are open and what states aren't. Let me just throw this scenario out here, and Danny, I'll start with you. What if California is not going to allow football to happen, and other states are? Could you see the NFL going to Stan Kroenke and saying, "All right, Stan, move your game from Los Angeles to Dallas to start the season"? Your thoughts on that? Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I don't think they will let one state hold them back if you have another option, right? If you can't play in LA, then play in Texas. This is football. You say we play wherever they'll let us play, like Bruce Arians. You line them up, put them on the field, and we'll play them. It doesn't matter what stadium, what arena we're in, we'll play football. So I mean, yeah, if California don't want to play, bring them to Texas. We know we'll let them in. Church, let me throw this out here to you. Just looking at the schedule, the first 3 games for the Cowboys, okay, so it's at Los Angeles, home against Atlanta, and then it's at Seattle. We've seen California and Washington hit hard by COVID-19. I remember when the Rangers and the Seattle Mariners were supposed to face each other to start the Major League Baseball season, and their governor ended up shutting down all activities in Washington. So what about the possibility that the Cowboys' first 3 games, 2 of which will be one in California, one in Washington, could be games they don't play if those states do not open up? Your thoughts?
Yeah, if those states do not open up, that'll be like McCray said, that'll be extremely tricky. I mean, like you said, this is a marquee franchise that the NFL kind of has their backs, and they want to see them on the field and want to see their product on the field. But if this COVID-19 thing is still going around with California and with Washington being hit so hard, I can see them saying those games aren't being taken. They're not going to be taken out there, so they might flip them and have them and Cowboys start 3 straight home games. I could see that happening as well. But I just think there's so much money out there for the NFL as an organization and for these franchises that I can see them playing games. I just don't know if it'll be in front of people or if they'll just have to go all to where states are allowing these things to be played. But that's just a lot of money out there to lose if this pandemic is continuing.
I tell you, one positive about this is that the NFL stadiums will be open, so you won't run into an issue of there's a concert planned, so you won't be able to adjust and have the home team be the away team or the away team be the home team because the venue's already booked. These venues should be open, and they should be able to adjust and have a home team become an away team if they need to in order to play the game.
This is the Players Lounge on a Friday. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter. Danny McCray, Barry Church join me every Friday. They're former Dallas Cowboys defensive backs. Let's talk about quarterback Andy Dalton. So we did our show on Friday. Andy was not signed. The Cowboys end up getting him on a one-year deal. He gets $3 million, up to $7 million based on incentives. I have seen a whole lot of Andy Dalton, watched his entire career at TCU, which ended with a Rose Bowl win over Wisconsin. He also played against Kellen Moore twice during his TCU career when Kellen was a quarterback at Boise State. They were both in the Mountain West Conference together. I'm going to start with you, Danny McCray. Your thoughts on Andy Dalton coming in here as a backup quarterback?
No, right now I'm still pushing this July 15th to see if he's actually going to be the backup quarterback. Is that going to show up? And then Jerry and them have to be looking at this offense and saying, all right, Andy Dalton is not Matt Castle. All right, he's better than that. With the weapons that we have around him on the offense, if we have to put him into play, I believe he could still win us some games. So, I mean, Andy Dalton, as a competitor and a 9-year starter, has to be thinking the same way to some extent. Now, him being the backup, I think that's great because if you're starting caliber, you should be able to back up a guy when you get on the field. So I still think it's a great move. I think it puts a little pressure on this contract situation with Dak as well.
For me, I think it was an extremely smart move by the Cowboys as an organization. I think on both fronts, it's a smart move. For one, you have an experienced quarterback that can go in there, and if anything happens to Dak, he gets hurt or anything like that, he can step in there and play. He can help, mold Dak's game and show him how he's experienced and pretty much be that backup quarterback that we needed, we never had in the past. And on the other front, on the contract situation, if, Dak's trying to hold out and doesn't want to play and we're starting games, we have an experienced quarterback back there that, with all these weapons around him, should be able to produce on a fairly high level. So I think it's an extremely great move on both behalves, and hopefully it works out for this season.
All right. Andy Dalton has won 70 games in 9 seasons in the National Football League. He took Cincinnati to the playoffs 5 times. He's a 3-time Pro Bowl. One thing that I know from reading my social media, there's some Cowboy fans that aren't really familiar with how the Jones family has dealt with backup quarterbacks during their tenure since buying the team in 1989. They've always had good backup quarterbacks. I go back to Steve Berline when Jimmy Johnson was the head coach, and Steve Berline helped the Cowboys win some games, and going into the playoffs, they ended up winning that Bears game before they ended up losing to the Lions, and Steve Berline started those 2 playoff games for them. Bernie Kosar was cut by Bill Belichick and the Cleveland Browns. Jimmy picked up Bernie. Bernie came in to the NFC Championship game against the 49ers and helped deliver a victory there as the Cowboys ended up going on to win Super Bowl 28, their second win over the Buffalo Bills. Rodney Peete was a backup quarterback to Troy Aikman. Randall Cunningham was here as a backup quarterback. We saw Kyle Orton backing up Tony Romo. We saw John Kitna backing up Tony Romo. So Andy Dalton falls in line in what the Cowboys have always tried to do. If they found a capable backup player, a guy who's been a starter, it's almost been a pit stop for guys because Berline ended up leaving the Cowboys and going to play again. We saw that with Bernie Kosar. We've seen it with other dudes. And Andy says, hey, I'm going to reevaluate my career here for the season, get some work with Mike McCarthy, and he hopes to get back on the market next year and become a starter. So I think the Cowboys have made a pretty good move here. And I also, Danny, I don't think this is a negotiating issue at all. I think this is the Cowboys doing what they've always done. I don't feel like this has any type of effect on the negotiations with Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
you don't think it has any type of anything to do with the contract at all. You ain't saying nothing. You don't think it has anything to do with the contract situation?
This is about years. They pretty much have agreed to the money by all reports. It's a number of years. Dak wants 4 years. The Cowboys want 5 or 6. Now think about it. Now you go back and just look at the deals they've signed. They got a 6-year deal for Ezekiel Elliott. Basically, the Cowboys aren't doing 4-year deals with anybody. Zach Martin signed for more than 4 years. Tank signed for more than 4 years. Amari Cooper was a 5-year deal. The Cowboys don't want to do a short deal. That's not how they do business. Dak wants to do a short deal so he can get back on the market. So it's not about the dollars. This is about how long this deal is.
But no, that's.
Go ahead, D-Man.
No, but But Newy, that's the point. You just said that the Cowboys don't do 4-year deals, and Dak is wanting a 4-year deal. So even though it's not about the money, that's still a big part of the negotiation. So even though it's not them having to pay him more money, the guy wants a 4-year deal. So as you explained it, they're far off in negotiations. So I don't think they made this move intentionally to affect the negotiations, but I think it will have an effect on how they move forward with this.
I believe, gentlemen, because the deadline is July 15th. On July 15th, there will be a deal done. I just know this. The Cowboys have always gotten their man. And if they got the Ezekiel Elliott deal done, because to me, that was the one time where I was really wondering if Jerry Jones and Steven were going to stick to their guns where they said, we're not going to reset the market. And they reset the market. Ezekiel still had years left on his deal. So if Ezekiel Elliott's getting done, you better believe Dak Prescott.
But remember, they saw what the team looked like without Ezekiel Elliott the year before, so they knew they didn't want to go into that. They haven't seen that with Dak. I think this situation is just a little different, but you're optimistic. So July 15th, we'll see.
Yes, I am optimistic. Barry, I'm optimistic. I'm not buying into Danny's turn down the negative road here. I'm going to stay positive and just also go by history, all right? See, Barry, history shows that the Cowboys get their guys. They always do.
I mean, they always get they get the Tank Lawrence, they got the Crawfords, Hitch. They let Hitchens walk out the door. I don't know about that, but I mean, you're right. They do get their guys, but I mean, like McCray said, if they're a year off on negotiations, they're still pretty far off on it. So we'll see. Like you guys said, we shall see. July 15th is the date. But my question is, if he doesn't sign by the 15th, does he show up to camp? Does he have it in him to just be like, nah, I ain't showing up, period?
Dak will play. I mean, keep in mind, you're still going to get $31 million, okay? I don't see him saying, no, I'm going to sit home. Because, and keep in mind, by the 15th, if there's not a deal done, they can't do a long-term deal. So it has to get done by July 15th. So come July 15th, if there is no deal that's agreed to, then it is a 1-year contract for $31 million. So that's just how it's going to be. And Lord knows, as a quarterback, you can't just sit out. And with all this talent around here, if he sits out, he's just going to drive his own market value down. So I don't see him not reporting at all, Barry. Dak Prescott will quarterback the Cowboys this season. It's just the whole question mark. Is it on a 1-year deal or a long-term deal? And I feel like it'll be on a long-term deal. I'm
going with a one-piece. I'm going with a one piece.
Fries on the side, one piece.
No, we've been talking about this for how long? When we started the show, we was talking about that contract. They still talking about years ago, man. We've been talking about this forever.
You're right. You're right. Now, I'm going to go by history again, okay? Because history is a good barometer. What happened with Cooper? Went down to the end, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the same. Cooper was here for 1 year.
Let me finish now.
All right, my bad.
What Zeke Elliott? What did that do? Went down to the end, didn't it? Pretty much went down to the end. What about Tank Lawrence? Pretty much went down to the end. This is kind of how they do business here. Zach Martin even held out. Okay, he decided not to show up to the OTA. I mean, they had to get that deal done. So this is kind of in line with what we've seen here lately. And at the end of the day, they get the guy they want. When they say they want you, they don't let you go.
Newy, take Tank Lawrence out of there because he played on the franchise tag, all right? So he was you got to take him out. They got him, but he was franchise tagged. so that one don't count. Yeah, Coop was here for 1 year and he was about to leave. They had to do it because there was no franchise tag for him. Oh yeah, D-Law took 2 franchise tags.
Yes, it was the second one. He said, "I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing." But still, I mean, that's anyway. My history there is pretty decent. We've got to take another break here. My gosh, it's 40 minutes after. We are just chewing up so much time. I still have a whole bunch of topics that I haven't gotten to yet. There's one signing that the Cowboys made that I don't think people are talking about enough. Did they do enough to help out this defense? And an issue that all three of us have talked about off the air. We want to bring it to the air and chat it up here. So this is a lot. It's a busy Friday. The Cowboys always in the news here. I'm Newy Scruggs. It's Danny McCray and Barry Church. This is the Players Lounge.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys, and your favorite football team. Get yours today in the Stadium Pro Shop or at Stetson.com.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS 1 score September 2019.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
So, you're shopping, and that's when you see it. Aisle 23. Dr. Pepper stacked from top to bottom as far as the eye can see. The phrase too good to be true comes to mind, yet there it is. A rich, delicious Dr. Pepper paradise. Wait, did that can of Dr. Pepper just open itself for you? They all are. As if to say, so nice to treat you. And even though it feels weird to talk to a can, you pick one up and say, it's so nice to be treated. Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Here we are on a Friday, Players Lounge, DallasCowboys.com. We appreciate you giving us some time on your Friday. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter, joined by former Dallas Cowboys players Danny, McCray, and Barry Church. All right, gentlemen, a signing that I don't think people are talking about enough, which I believe is very important. That is Cam Erving coming on a one-year deal to be the swing tackle for the Cowboys. He played with the Chiefs last year. Chiefs, as we know, won the Super Bowl. He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, had a tenure there that did not live up to the billing. But I believe this is big. Cam Fleming ended up leaving to go to the New York Giants. Tyrande Smith has missed 3 games the last 4 seasons. We know he's going to miss time. And then last year, that Jets game, Tyron was out, but we also saw Lel Collins miss that game as well. So to me, I think Cam Erving is a signing that matters. Church?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think this is just as important as the Andy Dalton signing. I mean, you got to have a quality backup at an important position. And as we've seen, like you said, Tyrande Smith, he's missed time with his back and injuries like that. And we've seen Lyle Collins have injuries throughout the last season. So to have a guy that can swing tackle between both, a quality pickup, a veteran guy who's had experience out there, he's a solid piece for this offense, and you need depth pieces. So I think this is a very, very solid pickup for the Cowboys.
Yeah, same here. I mean, in the over the past, I want to say,
you know, and Barry, you went through it yourself. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh no, go ahead. We moved it.
All right, I was just going to say here, you guys have both made the Dallas Cowboys just undrafted free agents. And I was looking at the class of kids they brought in here and signed, and looking at the bios. There's some pretty impressive resumes here. Do you guys see any particular player that you like as they get ready for some of these camp battles? You say, hey, look out for that guy. And I'm going to take credit 100%. When Barry Church came out of Toledo, I said, there's a guy I think can make the team. When Romo came from Eastern Illinois, I had a conversation with Terrence Newman. I said, hey, I like this Romo guy. I know he was the Walter Payton Player of the Year, and you played against him. And Terrence told me he is the Carson Palmer of small school quarterbacks, because that year Carson Palmer was the #1 pick of the Cincinnati Bengals, and Terrence had played for them both. So go ahead, give me your guy.
All right, so I'll take it. My guy is a safety from Illinois State, Luther Kirk. He was the MVP of the Shrine Game. We don't have enough safeties on the roster right now. We talked about that being something that we addressed in the draft, but they waited until after the draft to address that. And I think this kid can play. He's not the fastest. He ran around in between 4.5 and 4.6. He's explosive, jumped to 39 inch vertical, broad jump 10 foot 6 inches. He has some strength, 17 reps on the 225. So I think he's a prototypical special teams guy for his first year, and he can learn from those two guys that are starting ahead of him. And he can be one of those developmental guys who shows up in a year or two in a starting lineup.
Yeah, that was a solid pick right there. For myself, I'm going to have to go with Francis Bernard, the linebacker out of Utah. Now, this is a guy who he started out as his career as a running back. They went to BYU and then took off a year and then signed back with Utah. And as a senior year, he led the team in tackles. He's a very quarterback of the defense type of linebacker. I mean, he's not the fastest. He went to the combine. I think he ran in the 4.7s and whatnot, but he's extremely smart. He knows how to quarterback a defense, and he knows what he's doing in pass coverage. And you can never have enough linebackers that can rush the passer or that can drop back in pass coverage. So we've seen with the linebackers in the past with the Cowboys, they've had injury history. We've seen Leighton Vander Esch out for multiple games. We've seen Sean Lee out for multiple games. So just to bring another depth piece in there, like McCray said, that can contribute on special teams as well as being a depth piece for this linebacker core, I think he has a great chance of making the team. But like you said, you got to put a work on the field first.
I'm going to go with two tight ends that I'm going to watch very much. Charlie Tagovailoa went to Portland State. He's a pass-catching tight end. And then Sean McKeon is a big tight end from Michigan, and he can block. Look for Charlie to see if he can work on his blocking. He was an All-American at the FCS level. I just don't know if Dalton Schultz is going to end up making this team as a backup tight end. I think that we could see one of these rookie tight ends sneak in here. But Charlie Tagovailoa is going to be a guy I like a whole lot here, McCray.
Yeah, I mean, we need something to go with Blake Jarwin, and the tight end position, as we see across the league, if you look at the Kittles of the world, is a very important position, especially if you come across a guy who's athletic enough to block and create a mismatch out on the outside if he's going against a cornerback, or on the inside when he's playing against linebackers and tight ends. So I think it's a good position to watch, and hopefully we can strike gold with one of these guys.
Church, take me back to your time being an undrafted free agent. Why did you pick the Cowboys? Who else offered you? And also the stress of trying to make an NFL roster.
Well, for me, it was super stressful for me, because I didn't think it happened that quick. After the draft, I was heartbroken I didn't get drafted or whatnot. But as soon as the draft was over, my agent said, hey, all right, you got basically like 10 minutes to pick between these teams that you want to pursue. So I thought, I was going to have a couple days or something to pick a team I wanted to do research on it, but I had to go pretty quick. And my agent told me, he's like, the Cowboys special teams reached out to us. At the time, it was Joe DeCamillis. And he was saying he liked your game, and that's the fastest way to make the team is through special teams, and then you might have a chance to play on defense. So I went with my agent's gut feeling and decided to sign with the Cowboys. And I ended up being in a great situation. I had great leadership up there with Gerald Mccoy, and our coaches at the time, Brent Maxey and Campo, were great in accelerating my game on the field and defensively. So I ended up picking the right situation, but it's definitely a stressful pass to take, man. You got to make a decision extremely fast right after the draft.
McCray, I'm going to be a homer here, but let me also bring up running back Darius Anderson out of TCU. He has some kick return ability here. He also is a tough guy that can kind of get between those tackles as well. That's a running back, and I think about where the Cowboys look, if they carry four, that I can see him being maybe that third tailback kind of guy, but also a dude who plays special teams. That was how you made the Cowboys here. And I just feel like a guy who's got experience already playing special teams in college has a little bit of an edge, especially if they do not have a full training camp and OTAs.
Yeah, definitely. Because most of the time, what you see from these guys coming out of college, especially the starters, is that they hadn't played special teams before. So it takes the coaches a little bit more time to get these dudes trained and developed to play these different positions and get used to these new movements. So with him being a guy who's already played special teams and already being labeled as tough, and a guy who never quits and can go out there and play something like that, I think it's definitely an advantage for him when he steps on the field.
Church, Cam Newton unsigned. Your thoughts?
I'm pretty much surprised right now that he's unsigned. And then I think he came out the other day with something talking about he doesn't want to be a backup quarterback or something like that. He wants to be a starter. And I know it's just going to be hard for him to break any team through with being a starter. I mean, he might just have to be that backup for a year. But I was pretty surprised that he was not even picked up or anything like that. But I feel like Carolina, did him a disservice by releasing him as late as they did. Guys were already in situations with their quarterbacks, and everything was kind of sewed up by the time he hit the market. So I think they kind of did him a disservice. But if he wants to be that starting quarterback, he might have to wait out a year before getting back into the NFL, because I just don't see him cracking the lineup anywhere right now. Guys are kind of sewn into their positions. So we'll see. It's going to be tough. If he doesn't want to be a backup, he might have to be out for a year.
All right, guys, we had spent our off-air prep talking about the death of Ahmaud Arbery down in Brunswick, Georgia. In Brunswick, Georgia, down there in near the Savannah area, a place I used to live. My dad was stationed down there when I was younger. The Players Coalition ended up making a statement today. I want to read part of what they said. It says, today, the Players Coalition and professional athletes sent a letter to Attorney General William Barr, FBI Director Christopher Wray, and Deputy Attorney General for Civil Rights Eric DeBryan, requesting an immediate federal investigation into the tragic death of Ahmaud Arbery. Signers include Anquan Bolden and Malcolm Jenkins, co-founders of the Players Coalition, and other athletes and coaches across teams and leagues such as Tom Brady of the Buccaneers, Julian Edelman of the New England Patriots, Cam Jordan of the New Orleans Saints, Mark Ingram of the Baltimore Ravens, Steve Kerr of the Golden State Warriors, and Stan Van Gundy, former NBA coach and current broadcaster, and many more. They requested the FBI and the Department of Justice Criminal Section of the Civil Rights Division lead the investigation into this horrible shooting. The Georgia prosecutors' delay in moving forward an arrest and grand jury investigation to move sparked only a considerable amount of public activism, and the existence of numerous local conflicts means that a robust federally led investigation is the only way to restore community trust that Mr. Arbery's death will be fully investigated. Because on February 23rd, two white men, Travis and Greg McMichael, tragically gunned down Mr. Arbery while he was on a jog. They claimed that they were attempting to make a citizen's arrest, but no credible evidence exists that Mr. Arbery committed any crime. It wasn't until yesterday, 74 days after Arbery was killed, that police arrested the McMichaels. The prosecutor on the case assigned after the previous two prosecutors rescued themselves due to the conflicts neglected to send the case to the grand jury until after a video of the terrible incident was made public. So that's the first part of this letter from the Players Coalition. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Go ahead, McCray.
I think it's amazing and very concerning that it took all of that for this to happen, for them to get arrested. We saw the video, and then the first thing that goes into your mind is if that video doesn't come out, these guys, they get no attention and they possibly get away with this, which is absolutely ludicrous. I'm watching this video, and for me, this is probably one of the more clear versions of things that we've seen going on in the past. When you think about like something that happened to Trayvon Martin and some other people, this video was clear. You see everything happen on there, and I think that's where the outcry is coming from. And I don't think that this should be necessary for people to start speaking out. But I'm glad they did, and I'm glad that we finally got a little bit of justice to start from this issue.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you 100% on that, McCray. I mean, it's kind of a frightening situation. I mean, like you said, the guy was out for a jog, and you should feel your safest while you're just taking a jog during broad daylight, and something like this happens. I mean, it's tragic, and like you said, McCray, I'm glad the Players Coalition, spoke out on it, and they're trying to get justice for this situation. But like you said, it's a very scary and frightening world we live in now, and this situation is evidence of that.
And I'll just close the letter contained more, but I'll just close the end of it here where it says, Players Coalition is dedicated to advocating for social justice and racial equality and holding those who commit injustices accountable. The letter was sent to attorney William Barr and signed by the following below, and it goes through numerous players that we talked about there. So the Players Coalition had worked with NFL owners in the past, and so they continue their work on this issue here. So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly where they go forward with this. I saw the video as well. This is not what America is about. A person on a jog should not be shot down by people. And as I said, I will be very interested to see where it goes. But at the end of the day, you've got NFL players as well as Steve Kerr, the NBA. We've got people who are saying, look, this is not right. And this is players using their position to try and bring light. And once again, you go back to Colin Kaepernick, who was really at the forefront of trying to say, look, there are things going wrong here and bringing this to justice. So I'll be very eager to see exactly where this goes, gentlemen.
Newy, question for you. Because one of the most concerning things is, even though that these guys have been arrested, the thing that worries me the most is I still have to sit here and think, will they be convicted or will they go to jail? Or will we see an instance where we're watching on TV and they get that not guilty verdict and they're free to walk the streets again? Like, I just don't think that we should have to think that way, or that should even be a possibility, especially when you see a video like this where everything is evident that they did everything wrong in the situation.
I'll use a Bill Parcells quote. All I can go by is what I see. And what we have seen with the criminal justice system tells you that you should be worried. It just is. That outcome, that what you saw the video, that you think these guys are going to go to jail and be convicted. We don't know that. We don't know. I mean, that's why we have to have the trial. And what do we know? We know what we think sometimes is, hey, this is an A, B happen equals C. It does not always happen. So I understand what you're saying, and because of history and the way things gone, it's 100% accurate in terms of your thought process. All right, let's end this the way we started, with the Cowboys schedule. Gentlemen, according to both of your takes on the Cowboys schedule, Dallas is going to the playoffs as NFC East champions. Church, you got them going 10-6. McCray, you got them going 11-5 under new head coach Mike McCarthy. Gentlemen, that's pretty ambitious considering right now they don't have, there's no in-person OTAs and these guys aren't able to work with them. So, McCarthy could be under the gun depending on how much time he actually has to work with this team.
Let me tell you this. So, also the Browns don't have virtual. The Giants, who have an offensive coordinator, don't have virtual. The Cardinals have a new star receiver who will only be on virtual. The Redskins are the Redskins. The Eagles didn't have receivers last year, but they drafted one who will only be doing virtual workouts. Juju Smith-Schuster is the only one with the Steelers. It's a lot of opportunities here for us to get dubs on people who will probably have less familiarity with people on their team than we do. So I think that the chance is nice for us to go win that division.
Okay, so McCray, here, Barry, help me understand Danny's optimism. So Danny has this optimism about that, but he doesn't have optimism that Dak Prescott's going to get signed by Jerry Jones, who continually shown you in the past that he gets the deals done with the guys he wants.
Go ahead, one more time, Newy.
I said, help me understand Danny has this great optimism that the Cowboys are going to be okay without off-season workouts, but he has no faith in Jerry Jones signing Dak Prescott to a long-term deal.
I don't understand that one as well. You said he has no faith that Dak Prescott will get his deal done, but he has faith that the Cowboys will come through and make the playoffs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you said he's going to play this year on the tag or not, so it's not like we're not going to have Dak. I'm just saying that we might only have him for this year.
And if we have him for this year, they better make it the best year possible.
Danny McCray, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to bet, and I'm not going to bet with you again. I'm done. I'm done paying off bets because I don't like where I have to go pay off these bets at. I don't like the restaurant, so I'm not making the bet. Okay.
The fact that you don't want to bet lets me know that you know that there's a possibility that I'm right. So I take that.
No.
Make the bet, Newy. Make the bet.
At the restaurant of my choice. At the restaurant of my choice.
How you gonna lose a bet and pick the restaurant?
because I'm paying for it. Exactly. I'm going to have to pay for it. I'm going to at least eat somewhere I like, unlike the last time.
That's not what a bet is. You're supposed to do something that you don't like. That's a bet.
And suffer the consequences, huh?
Yes. Yes.
See, I'm not Michael Jordan. I don't have a competitive problem. I'm not gambling. I'm good. I'm good. Okay, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm okay.
No, hey, listen. I'm gonna tell them not to feed you at the table when you sit down.
You go ahead and try. You go ahead and try that. You go ahead and try that. I'll use that line Earl Thomas's wife used. She bust in that hotel. I got something for all y'all.
Hey, this between Newy. This between us, Newy. We don't need no questions, bro.
Hey, y'all ain't right, man.
Hey, fellas, it's 1 hour on the dot. It's 1 hour on the dot. This was fun as always. We appreciate everybody who tunes into the Players Lounge Fridays. We do it 11 a.m. Central Time. So thank you so much. We'll do it again. He's Barry Church, Danny McCray. They're both former Dallas Cowboys players. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter. Thanks to Chris Beam and everybody here with the Dallas Cowboys who helped set up this podcast. We'll talk to you next Friday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!